There's a word from the Lord today. In John the 15th chapter, verses 12 through 17. Today will be the first part of a three-part series. So we ask that you turn to John 15th chapter, verses 12 through 17. When you found it, won't you stand for the reading of God's holy word? As you stand, I want you to keep in prayer the Townsend family. I don't know if you all remember, Pastor Townsend preached here several months ago when I was away. Good friend, very fine preacher. His wife was funeralized on yesterday. Sister Townsend was funeralized on yesterday. So we want to keep Pastor Townsend and the whole church family in our prayers. But we have, as we should, shown ourselves friendly and supportive in their journey at this time. As is our custom, won't you hold your Bibles high and repeat after me. This is the Word of God. It has transformative power. I will praise God for this preaching moment. And I declare that after this moment, that I shall never, ever be the same. In John 15, 12 through 17, in the New Revised Standard Version, these words are faithfully recorded. This is my commandment, that you love one another as I have loved you. No one has greater love than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends. You are my friends, if you do what I command you. I do not call you servants any longer, because the servant does not know what the master is doing. But I have called you friends, because I have made known to you everything that I have heard from my Father. Watch this. You did not choose me, but I chose you. And I appointed you to go and bear fruit that will last, so that the Father will give you whatever you ask in my name. I am giving you these commandments so that you may love one another. May the Lord add a blessing to the reading and the hearing of his word, the edification of our hearts and our souls. Amen. Amen. Be seated. Oftentimes when I am here, I learn so much from just observing and listening to each and every one of you. And so today's sermon comes from a series of Bible lessons that were taught by Reverend Crump to our group several months ago, as they tackled this notion called love. So out of the 12th, the 13th, and the 16th verse, this is my commandment, that you love one another as I have loved you. No one has greater love than this, than to lay down one's life for one's friends. I am giving you these commands so that you may love one another. I'm going to talk in this first part series from the subject, real love. Real love. Let us bow our heads for a word of prayer. Dear Lord, we thank you for this day. We thank you for each of your children that have pressed their way once more and again to be where you are. Now, Lord, touch the words of my mouth. Let them not be of mine own opinion, nor my understanding. Lord, let them fall fresh from you. Someone may be transformed by the renewing of their mind. This indeed is our prayer. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Some of you may be too young, but most of you are just the right age, whether you be seasoned or middle-aged, to remind yourselves to the mid-80s, to the great hymn, great song of R&B and rock music, sung by Tina Turner, What's Love Got to Do with It? Tina and some of y'all may be well acquainted with the early 90s movie, What's Love Got to Do with It? I don't know the words in their entirety. I do recall hearing, what's love got to do with it? What's love but a secondhand emotion? This love that was sort of come see, comes out. Sometime on and sometime off. This love that she sang about, not the kind of love that would be the center of attention. She's talking about the world's kind of love. How folk will love you today and hate you tomorrow. But I declare my Father's children, that those of us that love the Lord, love is more than a secondhand emotion. Those of us that understand who God is, we live in an existence that is surrounded by the notion of love. In fact, everything that we do in life as soldiers on the cross, we ought to check and make sure that love is at its center. I don't know what you may call that book that you have called the Bible. For some of y'all it means instructions because you prefer not to think. Some people it rests in just some fables and some stories or some things that'll give you a temporary emotional boost on Sunday. But I declare that the one thing that the Bible ought to be to you is an example of God's love for you. An example, an exhibit, and display of what powerful love is all about. If I were asked someday to sum up the Bible in one word, I would say love. Love is at the center of who we are. So, although I like some Tina Turner, I prefer the search of another R&B diva. In the 1990s, in her album, What's the 411? Oh, I know some of y'all got that album on your shelf. Another R&B diva didn't say what's love got to do with it, but she said real love. I'm looking for some little real love. She understood that at the very essence of who she is not what love's got to do with it, but her plight in life is to find something that is real. Something that is permanent, something that is temporary, something that does not move when the winds of emotions blow, but something that is constant. Real love. I'm looking for some real love. So, in today's passage, Jesus walks us into what real love is. He guides us into the stage of understanding the very essence of love. See, many of us are like Mary J. Blige. We're looking for real love. But the difficulty is we really don't know what love looks like. Sometimes it's difficult because we have lived lives that have not experienced love to its fullest. Sometimes it's difficult simply because love is hard. Love is not easy. Love is an action. Love has to become a part of the fiber of who you are. You can't love somebody today and decide you're not going to love them the next day. And so our life is the search of love, but the tragedy of life is that many folk don't know love when they see it. Because they don't know love when they see it. It is just like when you raise your children. If you've never seen love, it's hard to replicate love. That's why we have God's word. But we have God's word. Even if you haven't been loved, you can see love. If you study God's word, even if you can't spell love, you can feel love. If you have God's word and feel like the world doesn't love you, you got the blessed assurance of John 3:16 that even if the world doesn't love you, God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son. So here we find Jesus giving us an example of real love. He is talking to his disciples. And he is saying, this is my commandment. Watch that. How many Christians we got in here? Don't lie, because I baptized you. I hope it worked. Watch this thing. If you're a Christian, this is your commandment. This ain't what you feel like doing. What Thelma Johnson says, Sister Harris, is in the book. If you're a Christian, this is a commandment that you love and not hate. So when hate comes out of your mouth, you are in a genre that is opposite to God. And when we close off this series, after I do this series on loving, I'm just going to give you a preview. I'm going to teach that 4th week on you reap what you sow. So if you're reaping hate on somebody, you wondering why things ain't working out for you, that's why it ain't working out for you. Because you need to love. You scratching your head, but that's 4 weeks from now. But it is very important for you to understand why love. I'm talking about loving that person you can't stand. Ain't acting the way you think they should act. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about love. Now watch this, watch this. It's in the book. It says, this is my commandment, that you love one another. But look, then he defines. Jesus understood greater than me. He defines what love is. He says, now if you want to know what it is, no one has greater love than this, than to lay his life down for a friend. So not only does he tell you that love is important, he defines what love is. Then he closes saying, I give you this so that you may love one another. And so let's go back. Let's go back up to verse 13. You might say ouch and not amen today. No greater love than this, than one laid his life down for a friend. So what does that mean? This is what love is really about. Love is about sacrifice. You don't really love what you ain't willing to sacrifice for. That's all. If you got people in your life that ain't willing to sacrifice something for your peace, then they really don't love you. They love themselves, but they don't love you. Think about it. It says, lay your life down for a friend. You know, when I got married, I guess I didn't do like the typical guy. I wasn't necessarily looking for no wife that could sing a hymn, pray all night long with me. What I'm looking for somebody that will stand in front of a freight train for me. That's what I need. I need somebody that when that freight train is coming 1,000 miles an hour, where she can't stand in front of that train like Superman and say that train stop, and that train ought to stop. I need somebody that's going to sacrifice for me. When the lights go off in here, ain't no more deacons on the front row, ain't no more choir. I need somebody to say that I will be with you in the dungeons of life. I will sacrifice for you. I will lay my life down. That's what you need. That's how you make it. Love. So love is rooted in sacrifice. In order to understand sacrificial love, and some of you are acquainted with this, we've got to understand the three aspects of love at various levels. Three Greek aspects of love. The first aspect of love is eros. Right? We got to be careful. We got to know real love when we see it. Eros love is emotional stuff. That's that thing y'all see on TV, ladies, and y'all say, woo, he sure is fine. That's eros. That thing when you out at the club late, you ain't got no business out there. Somebody looking slick, sharp, smelling good, that's eros. Brothers, that thing, that person that just want to get your money for you to take her out to eat, not call you back, but she was fine. You was glad that you went out on that day. That's just eros. That thing that looked good but have nothing to offer, that's eros. That emotional experience. When the pheromones seem to rise up in the sky, when you singly start dating and every thought is her and every thought is him, that's eros love. That's an emotional feeling. Then there's filial love. Brotherly feeling. That's what we find in most churches. Brother so-and-so, sister so-and-so. We got something in common. We from the same side of the tracks. We go to the same church. We're of the same class. We have the same friends. We're going to bond together. It's like fraternity. If I'm an alpha, I got my alpha brothers. If you're a Mason, you have your Mason brothers. If you're a power sorority, you have your sorority sisters. That's filial, that stuff that pulls you together, some brotherly concept. But the real love is used in the Bible. The Greek is agape love. Unconditional love. That love that will love you when you ain't smelling right. When your hair not combed, when you're sick, that kind of love. That filial love that doesn't care about what fraternity you're in. Really doesn't care about what sorority you're in. That agape love doesn't care about what side of the tracks you're from or what our affiliations are. That love that says, I will love you anyhow. And that's what got our people over. And somehow we got lost in the shuffle on eros and filial, but we missed it on the journey. I'll define these other kind of loves, then we'll move on. I'm almost through today. Eros love. And I want you to watch this. This is not only for the love, but it's for those of you that are trying to be the loving. You get it? This sermon is not only for the love, but those of you that are trying to be loving. You may try to be loving, but you just don't know how. All right. So watch this. This eros love, this emotional love, what did Al Ray say? Make you want to do wrong. Make you do right. That kind of love. That kind of love is a self-centered love. That kind of love says, I love as long as I feel good. Long as I can smile. Long as things still are flying in the air. I feel good, but it's a self-centered love that is only centered on how one is feeling. Filial love. It's a little stronger kind of love. It says, watch this, If I do for you, you do for me. See, we're brothers because, or sisters because I did for you and you did for me. And so as long as reciprocity continues, oh, I love my sister. Y'all been around church folk like that. There's some in here now. As long as somebody doing something for you, I love sister so-and-so. I just love brother so-and-so. But let you do something wrong next Sunday. One loving you today will roll their eyes at you tomorrow. It's tight, but it's right. Filial love is this reciprocity thing, and you'll find that people are involved with filial love. It goes a little ways, but after reciprocity is not achieved, you'll find that love has fallen off. I think Eddie Murphy said it in one of his comic skits. He used this word, "What have you done for me lately?" There are people that's love is only divided, only rests on what you have done for them lately. They are not concerned with you as a person. They are concerned with only what you have done for them. And the plight, I just got to keep it real for our young black girls here today. The plight is that young black girls are hearing music. They're seeing a society that defines love on what somebody can do for them and what somebody can give them. This filial, this reciprocity thing. But real love is not bound by what somebody can do for you. It's about how much they care and will sacrifice for you. If a person that has $50 million can give you $1 million, but a person that has $50 million that will sacrifice their time and tell you that I love you and be there to support you on your journey, that's the type of person. That's the type of person we want our young girls to fall in line behind. But each one of these factors of love, are a part of a stage in the process. They're part of the stage in the process. It's not that eros is wrong, but you can't just live on eros. It's not that filial is wrong, you can't just live on. Let me explain to you the typical relationship. The typical relationship, you see somebody you like at church and you start to get to know that person because they sharp, they dress, they got the mustache trim, whatever you like, whatever floats your boat, that's eros, that's emotions. And so you make that contact on emotion, then you get to know that person. Oh, that person is all right. That person is filial. It's like my brother, like my sister. We can talk about anything. But before you make the next step, you better take agape into consideration. Because here is just the evolution. That's the evolution, but the final result is agape love. It's unconditional love. My friends, what does unconditional love mean? Jesus is teaching here that unconditional love requires you to sacrifice. Unconditional love requires you to have the stamina sometime to sacrifice your feelings for the sake of the one that you claim that you love. Anybody that's claiming that they loving you with an ultimatum really don't love you. Anybody that's claiming that they'll only be around under certain circumstances really doesn't love you. Love requires that you sacrifice, that you love to a degree that you are willing to lay your life down. Now, God is not asking you to lay your life down to a detriment, but if we even look at the way we understand the book of Ephesians, many ladies get upset because it says, wives, submit yourselves to your husbands. I see some of y'all popping your neck right now. Popping your neck right now. I ain't going to submit to no man, but I dare you to keep on reading. But there it says, but husbands, love your wife as Christ loved the church and gave himself for it. And so I'm walking you into this. Sacrificing ain't hard for somebody that has sacrificed for you. Somebody that has given themselves for you. ought to be worthy of your sacrifice. It is yet reciprocity, much like filial, but it's not reciprocity that's intent on you do this and I do that, but it is rooted in a love of sacrifice. Real love. And our parents surely know it. Calls you to do some things sometimes you would not do. Calls you to extend some credit you should not extend. Out of love. Calls you to endure some people you would ordinarily not endure out of love. Calls you to greet and hug some people that you may not feel you would ever have greeted and hugged in your life out of love. The great sacrifice that we all must give towards one another. So my question to you today, are you really loving? Or is your love on condition? How many times have you told those that you love, I'm only going to do if X, Y, and Z happens? That's not love. How many times have you had eros love, self-centered love, that only has you in a box, and only you and only you? Refuse to step out there and make a sacrifice for someone else. No greater love than this. And the man had to lay his life down. Lay his life down for a friend. We must live lives of sacrifice for our brothers and sisters. We sacrifice because we know that God is able. We went to love today because a few weeks ago we talked about forgiveness. There can be no forgiveness if there is no love. For the greatest of these is love. And so Christ is calling us into this commandment. And guess what? You and I are not going to get it right just on one Sunday morning sermon. But we continue to press our way. We continue each day to migrate from filial to agape love, to unconditional love. Unconditional love, that when she's diagnosed with cancer and her hair falls out, that you will still give her the same sort of kiss and love that you gave her when her hair was flowing down her back. That she can know that you love her unconditionally. Unconditional love. Should you ever forget your name and forget her name, she'll hold your hand, understanding that there was a time where you loved her as best as you could, and she stays there not because you can remember her name, but simply because she loves you. Love says, I may not have time, but I'm going to make some time. Love that will wake you up in some midnight hours to sacrifice your very best to do for someone else. Your love, watch this in our relationship, to say, that might not make me happy. That sure makes her happy. And that gives them peace, then I'll give it a try. Because God has required us to love one another. The question, though, is that we have to address as we are attempting to love our brothers and sisters. Question we must answer that is much deeper. Now that we know what real love is, do we love God? Do we love God unconditionally? If love is rooted in sacrifice, how much are we willing to sacrifice God? To sacrifice for God, if you will. If you think because you came here for 2 hours you did God a favor, that's not sacrificing for God. You missed it. Do we love God? Do we really love God? Are we really willing to sacrifice? And so, as I really ask that question, and look through my mind for those that have sacrificed their lives, people like Malcolm X, people like Martin King, and people like Medgar Evers, and numerous people whose names that have never been written down on the road, I ask myself, what made them do what they did? Now I declare that they died. Yes, because they loved humanity. But their real sacrifice, their real death, was not in the fact that they loved humanity, but they loved their Creator. People don't give their lives for the sake of folk, because folk will make you want to quit. People that give their lives and sacrifice their lives, and because they know there's an existence of something that is greater than them. I love each and every one of you, but I've learned that I can't come here on Sunday morning for the pews, but I have to come here because I love something that is greater, something that is bigger, something that is better than my very existence. I've got to sacrifice to lay myself on the line because I love God so much. Because God is indeed my all in all. Because He's a burden bearer and He's a heavy load sharer. I sacrifice because I love Him. Because He woke me up this morning and started me on my way. How do I know that I'll keep on pressing? Because He caused the sun to shine by day and the moon to shine by night. I love Him. But what makes Him easy to love? What makes Him easy to love? Jesus calls us into what makes Him so easy to love. He says in the 16th verse, He gives us the reason why He's easy to love. He says, I'm easy to love because you did not choose me, but I chose you. I love God because God loved me first. God took me in the midst of all my mess and found me love worthy. I love God because God sacrificed His Son just for me. I love the Lord because His Son died on Calvary's cross just for me. I love the Lord because despite my setbacks, God still remains a very present help in the time of storm. I love God because despite my tears turn to the joy that comes in the morning time. I love God because He makes a way out of no way. I love God because He orders my steps in the midnight hour. I love God because He seems to fix it just when I think it can't be fixed. I love Him. I love Him. I love Him. So do you really love Him? Do you really love Him? Do you really love Him? The thing for today to follow is simple as this. Are you loving properly by sacrificing? Or is your love rooted in my way or the highway? That's not true love. Are you being loved? Are you around people that are sacrificing for you? Can they simply sacrifice? When we talked about forgiveness, you don't need to forgive somebody that ain't repented. Can't say they sorry for what they did. Oh, you don't need to do that. Are they? Can they even sacrifice to say, I'm sorry? What kind of situations are you in? But the thing that even keep closer. This is what checks me and lets me forgive. When I think about all that God puts up with me. That's how I can forgive that person that's not acting like I want them to act. Because when I'll keep it real, I don't always act like I need to act. That's when I want to ridicule that person for not being all that they should be. I got to look at myself and say, you know, I'm not always all that I can be. Anybody here understand? You're not always all that you can be. Matter of fact, the same thing that angers us about somebody else can have somebody angry at us. And so is your love rooted in sacrifice? And then transform us. Do we really love God? Do we really love God? And we give our lives to God? Does Christ reflect our actions on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday? Because I think we all mature enough Christians, we act right on Monday. Y'all out there, I think all y'all act right on Monday. Tuesday through Saturday. What is your witness? What is your witness about the goodness of God? Have you really given your life to God? Have you really sacrificed your life to God? Show God real love. It's not about you. So you take a little time to come to Bible class. Take a little time to come to Sunday school. Maybe you take a little time to feed the homeless. Maybe you just take a little time to just get closer to Him. And the difficulty with loving God, is many of us love God from an eros perspective. You know, some of y'all want to go places where they jumping and bumping. Ain't nothing wrong with jumping and bumping. But that's an emotional experience. That's an emotional experience. She said it. Sister Tillman said, Sunday morning disco. You got that on camera saying, I didn't say it. Call her radio station. She said Sunday morning. But look at that. We come for an emotional experience, but our lives are not made better because all we want from God is the discotheque. And we want to go home. We don't come back next week for the discotheque. That is only one part of our sacrifice. I shared in Bible class. I was at a church. I loved the worship service. It was great. But then it sort of got out of whack. And the Spirit jumped into me and said, now step back and look. See, because sometimes you get emotionally involved. And right before the $10 line was starting, and I saw all these poor people that are in this congregation jumping and hopping. I said, it's wonderful that they're jumping and hopping. I'm jumping and hopping with them. But as much as they speaking in tongues, which y'all know is all right with me, I hope they can read. I hope they have a job. I hope there's some preparation to make them a better person. You can't only have an emotional relationship with God. That's not love. A brotherly relationship with God. Do you really love God? Or is God on the term of, why God, why did you do that to me? Let me say this prayer. Now I'm going to get my breakthrough. But when I get my breakthrough, I just remain the same. Keep on drinking what I've been drinking and keep on singing what I've been singing, and it ain't gospel music. This thing is, if God owes you something, there's no reciprocity. Sacrifice. God wants you to love Him if you get that job or not. Wants you to praise Him and go into prayer, go into Bible study, whether He blesses you or not. And that way, when it comes, can I just prophesy right now? Some of us have lost it because we didn't give it all to Him when we got it. That's why you don't have what you have, because your love was only half-heartedly. When you got what you had, did you start going to Bible class? Nope. When you got what you had, did you start getting more involved in ministry, trying to help somebody who was way back? Nope. Me, myself, and I. That's why you're struggling, because you got to really want to love God. So next time we're in this Philio allows us to get a pity party. I'm sorry. Y'all gonna say more ouch than amen today. But what Philio allows you to do is when something goes bad, you say, well, why is everybody else getting ahead and not me? Right? Let me tell you this. Let me tell you what keeps me in check. Because sometimes I get a filial relationship with God. My dad used to always say this. If you got one leg, there's somebody always worse off than you. So when you start thinking that, why is God forsaking you? I bet you there's somebody less blessed than you that's doing better than you. For God. Somebody going to church every Sunday praying and they ain't got no job. You got a job. But you mad you ain't getting what you want out of it. Be careful. There's always somebody that's doing better than you. That's worse off than you. So love him. Don't love him because of what you have. Love him for who he is. Love him unconditionally. Say, I love you, God, whether I'm up or whether I'm down. I love you, God, from the unemployment line to the 401k line. I love you, God, from my frustrations to my happiness. I love you, God, from my pain to my healing. I love you, God, from my soreness to my joy. I love you, God. I love you more than anything. May we have the testimony of the great hymn. I really love the Lord. You don't know what he's done for me. He gives you the victory. How many people love him? I love him. I love him. I love him. Our love is sacrificial. And our love for God is sacrificial because he first loved us.